Have you gotten an elephant on a music video before?
The cheapest one I've gotten was like $2,400.
So $2,400 Moses can get you an elephant.
For 4 hours.
For 4 hours on set with the animal wrangler and everything.
And the elephant makes more money than like the DP or the director.
Oh my gosh. What's going on, Indy Mugglers? Today we are talking about producing, prep, and what are the biggest mistakes that people make when they're gearing up to make a music video. Now, I've said it before, I'll say it again. Music videos are the worst. They're terrible. I hate them. Nothing good about them. But yeah, music videos. I think they're one of the best ways to cut your teeth and get known. Like if you play your cards right, and because of how low budget music videos are, even the really big ones, it's totally possible for new and upcoming filmmakers to shoot for big artists. And in turn, music videos are a great way to get a whole bunch of eyeballs on your work. But with so many new and fresh filmmakers shooting music videos out there, there are bound to be mistakes. So if you are facing your first music video, if it is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, a music video for Miley the Pitbull Anderson, what do you need to know? So to make things crystal clear, I called in my friend Moses Israel. Now, Moses is a producer that's produced just about everything you could think of. Commercials, docs, he had a second feature go to Sundance Film Festival this year. But what I think he's an absolute expert on, like a trained ninja on, perhaps more than anyone else that I know, is producing music videos.
I think I've done like almost 1,000 videos. I would say
He's produced videos for people like Wiz Khalifa, Jaden Smith, Tyga, Anderson .Paak, but here comes my question. From a guy that has produced like 1 million music videos, what are the biggest mistakes that you gotta watch out for if you're doing your first project?
I would say top #1 thing is secure the bag. You have to secure the funds.
I hear about this so much, it's not even funny. Here's a story that happens, unfortunately, way too often. Producer goes out, hires a bunch of people. Good people to act, to shoot, to direct, to fight, to day play. They shoot the gig, they do an amazing hell of a job. And when the final shot comes out and everyone's looking at the producer and the producer is ready to pay everybody out for their hard work that they put in, the producer is looking around and doesn't know where the money is. I know what you're thinking. Ted, how on earth does this happen? How on earth do people produce an entire video? What kind of idiot goes out there and hires on a bunch of people that he doesn't have the money to pay in the beginning? Well, here's the thing.
You really have to consider that there are a ton of upfront costs, right? Yeah. You have to rent your camera, rent your lights, you have to get a film permit, you have to book your location, you got to get production insurance, and so how are you going to pay for all this stuff? Yeah. You know what I mean? And
you're going into debt on what could be potentially an empty promise.
Exactly, on an empty promise, and that's why nowadays, for those producers kind of just starting out with music videos, like right out the gate, you're soon going to find out that you really have to start making contracts and agreements. Even if the budget is only $1,000, have an agreement in place that says they agree to pay this, and if for whatever reason the video doesn't happen, they're still obligated because of all of these upfront costs.
So no matter what, secure the bag, even if it's uncomfortable to bring up the conversation in the beginning. Hey, the money's not in the account. We need this before we move forward on it.
Exactly.
Okay, so then what's number 2?
Number 2 is stay under budget. Stay under the bag.
Moses' next tip, again, seems like a no-brainer, but I cannot tell you how many times that I've heard of filmmakers, especially new and young filmmakers, going over budget on their music video projects.
You have directors or DPs who specifically want anamorphic lenses. They want a really great camera. They want this expensive lighting package, and I'm all for that. I love anamorphic lenses, don't get me wrong, but who's gonna pay for that? You really have to put your foot down and look out for people, because I've had some horror stories where the DP or the director is saying, okay, I really want this thing, just take it out of my rate. You have to prep for the next project and the next one, and you just spent 8 weeks or whatever it may be, didn't get paid for it, and sometimes that can ruin relationships, sometimes that can rub people the wrong way.
How is it your problem that they have asked you to do this?
When it comes time to do the next one, I need to hire this DP again. I need to hire this director again. And if they didn't get paid on the last project, they're gonna remember that. It's your problem because it's your responsibility to secure the bag for them and make sure that they don't ruin the bag for you.
So to make this point really hit home, I asked Moses, what is the most common thing that filmmakers forget to budget for?
The biggest thing, crafting and catering. I'm sure you know that on music video sets, there aren't the best rates.
Music videos are notorious for this, for having
low budget.
tiny budgets, low budgets, absolutely.
Low budget.
Even on the high end.
And so when you're not paying people a really great rate, you're really paying them through their stomach. So you want to make sure that the lunch is like really great, or the crafty's really great, because then those people that came out for that low rate are gonna realize that you're taking care of them.
Yeah.
And they're gonna wanna work with you again. I'm on a film shoot, I'm taking care of my crew, I'm emailing someone for the thing that we're filming next week. And more often than not, I'm using half of the crew that we're working with that day to shoot next week. And so if I'm not taking care of them, they can easily tell me, no, I don't wanna work on your project.
And after that, to really top it off, I asked, how do you usually budget for a regular crew with a director, a cinematographer, et cetera, et cetera?
I look at it as increments of 5 to 10%, meaning that your director is probably getting 10% of the budget. Always like location and picture cars, delegate like 5 to 10%. DP, same thing, around 10% of the budget. Same with your editor. Now, kind of where you can cut some of the costs or like bend it a little bit is if you have a director that is gonna edit and color, then I'm gonna promise that director 30% of the whole budget.
Yeah.
That makes them wanna work their ass off, make it way much better. Where like crafty and catering, you're looking at 5%. Per department, like art department would get 10% of the whole budget. Same with G&E, a good 10%. Your camera rentals, your lighting rentals. I would say to that producer coming out of film school that is producing these music videos, know when to flex, / know when to be honest.
Are you telling me that filmmakers aren't honest?
It is very well known in the film industry, the music video world, that producers tend to stretch the truth a little bit.
And this is usually because they want to hype up a project.
Oh yeah.
Get people to work on it for cheaper, get more resources, things like that.
So people bend the truth a little bit.
What Moses is saying is that when it comes to the business of making music videos, yes, you're going to need to be prepared to be excited, to be passionate, to pitch people on your project and how exciting and cool it is. But you also need to know when to be the tough guy, when to put your foot down when someone's trying to roll you over.
If there's a crew member or a location that wants a ridiculous amount of money, or someone is trying to abuse their power, as a producer, you need to learn when to put your foot down and say, this is what it is, or else it's not happening. Have a solution to the problem before you present it, meaning that there's all these little fires that happen. You always have to put these fires out, but find the solution. You lose a location, find 2 more locations, and then let your team know, hey, this is the problem. We lost this thing, but here's the solution. We have these X, Y, and Z options.
Finally, if you do play the wrong type at the wrong place, or you mess up one of these tips entirely, here's Moses' last tip.
You gotta make things right. You don't wanna be burning bridges. You wanna make things right. Like if you're at a location and you damage something, you have an L&D, talk to that location and let them know, like, I'm gonna make this right. I'm gonna pay for this, replace it, whatever it may be. Same with the crew members. If someone is disgruntled or someone's bumping heads, like make it right. Mainly because we're creating art here, and when you're creating art, you want everyone to kind of be on the same page, have a good vibe. But more importantly, if you burn that bridge, they're gonna remember you.
You're basically saying that if you're working in this long enough, you are bound to run into the same people over and over again.
Over and over again.
And if that's the case, burning bridges is like the worst possible thing you can do. And if you don't believe us, maybe you can learn from this crazy story.
He's an A-lister.
A-list movie actor, you're working on his music video.
Specifically says, I'm flying in from Hawaii, I wanna go straight to my house in Malibu.
Yeah.
He specifically wanted to shoot in a soundstage in Malibu.
Yeah.
And there's like 1 or 2 only. So we found one, shoot went great, artist showed up, did an amazing job, and there's a clip where the artist is walking out and behind him are half a dozen doves.
Just flying out.
Slow motion flying. Really great, looks awesome. And the problem is the doves were up in the rafters and they stayed there. Now location is looking at us like, there's doves up there and they're crapping all over the floor. Every day that there's a mess is a half a day or a full day that we're getting charged.
And you're paying for a Malibu soundstage.
They're making more than the grip truck. We call up the dove guy and we're like, this is the problem. Can you help us out? Dove guy says, easy solution. 3 options. 1, I can come over there with a pellet gun and shoot him down. It's gonna take 5 minutes. I'll clean it up, shoot him.
Oh no.
5 minutes. And you gotta remember that this is an A-list actor, so if we kill an animal for his music video, this is a PR nightmare. The dove guy says, if you don't wanna kill the animals, I can put some cages up in the rafters and try to get them to fly in. You kind of have to let them do it on their own. It can take days, sometimes weeks. Third option is get like a pressure washer kind of a thing and spray them with water to try to scare them out the door. This can also take multiple hours. It can take multiple attempts. It can take a day, 2 days.
We could have just left though.
We could have been the producer and been like, we never want to shoot here again. Forget this place. We're out of here. And it's the location's problem. But that's not the type of producers we are because we've learned from our mistakes. The director's like the cheapest thing possible. And remember, it's a PR nightmare if we kill these birds. So we end up doing the pressure wash thing. They're out 6 or 7 hours after we wrap, and we're paying for the rate the whole time. The location is specifically stated, you have to pay for all of this overtime. The location guy was like, he saw that we cared. He saw that we weren't gonna leave him, hang him out to dry, that we weren't just gonna burn that bridge. And so he says, hey, pay $100, $200 for a cleaning crew to come here, clean up all of this poop, and I'm not gonna charge you anything for that. So he saw that we cared. And so we did that, but the kicker to all of this is that 8 weeks later, working with another artist, specifically says, I want to shoot in a stage near my home. We call Malibu soundstage and we say, hey, we have to shoot here again for another project. And immediately he's like, absolutely, you took care of me, no problem. But the point being that if we didn't do that, we had to have told that client we don't have any sound stages, and then he would have probably found another production company to produce the project. And so it just goes to show you, really make things right.
Well, thanks for coming on the show. Thanks so much for tuning in. And it's good to see you, man.
Awesome. Good deal. Thank you guys for having me. Appreciate it.
So there you guys have it. There's your episode with Moses Israel, an incredible producer and a filmmaker. Also, if you want to check the full discussion with Moses, we're going to put the podcast in the link down below. So that's it for me, guys. Thank you for watching this episode. I'm Ted. This is Indy Mogul, and we'll catch you guys in the next one.
Scratched up a picture card.
You scratched up my elephant last time, and you didn't pay for the L&D. What is wrong with you?
Because you're gonna have to, and then 6 weeks later, you're gonna get a phone call, and you need another elephant.
You need an elephant,
and you now realize, oh crap,
I gotta call that guy again. I can't call him anymore.
And
even worse, he's connected with the Elephant Committee of America. He knows all the elephant owners. They're all gonna say no to me now.
There's an Instagram elephant page.
Oh my gosh.